Get ready for the home stretch.
Oh, it's going to be exciting from here on in through to April when the playoffs begin.
The Wild have been on a roll, gaining points in each of their last 10 games, including 2 victories over the Canucks. The reason? The resurgence of Devan Dubnyk.
Oh, what a save by Dubnyk!
The numbers don't lie. He's played really well, and this team's got some life to make the playoffs.
Meanwhile, the Canucks turn to their backup between the pipes tonight, hoping to cope with the big loss on the blue line. Only 2 points separate these teams in the standings. And 2 points are on the line tonight. It's the Wild, the Canucks, right now.
In Vancouver for the last time this month are the Canucks. They head on a 5-game road trip that takes them through the rest of February, and they don't get much bigger. It's been like that all week for the Canucks, and the Wild in town 2 points back. And Eddie Lack gets the start. Ryan Miller has struggled against the Wild. He's lost 3 straight to Minnesota, so they turn to the backup, the ever-smiling Eddie Lack, as we welcome you with Elliot Friedman and Colby Armstrong. I'm Brad Fay. More from these gentlemen in a moment. We go straight, though, to Rogers Arena, where Dan Murphy is standing by. Murph, what do you got?
Well, Brad, things are getting a little thin on the Canucks blue line. We knew no Kevin Bieksa, then no Alex Edler, and now no Chris Tanev. That's 3 of the top 4 Canucks Minutemen. In fact, Dan Hamhuis, more games of NHL experience than the rest of the D-Corps combined. It's going to be tough on Vancouver, especially with Minnesota coming in, hottest team in the National Hockey League. Been so good since acquiring Devan Dubnyk. Haven't lost in regulation since January the 19th. They were 7 points back of Vancouver on February 1st. Can pull into a tie this evening. We've talked about the Canucks' home record. Hasn't been great, but with the win this evening, they climbed to 5 games above 500, and that would do wonders going into a 5-game Eastern road trip. Brad?
All right, Dubnyk's been the story for the Wild for sure, Elliot. Not great on Saturday, but then the offense explodes for 6 goals, which maybe is tough news for the Canucks, especially given the youngsters and the depleted blue line tonight.
Well, the way you have to look at it is one man's injury is another man's opportunity. It's an opportunity night for Alex Biega. It's an opportunity night for Adam Clendenning, who's going to get power play time. These guys, and that's what skated during the warm-up. You just have to look at it like when you're a young player coming up, do what you did to get there. The play you made in the AHL, it's faster in the NHL, but just try to do the same things. Don't overcomplicate things. Make the safest possible play, but Lack's going to have to be huge tonight because you know there will be breakdowns.
Yeah, you talk about it with that D-Corps, and man, it's looking depleted. But you got some guys that are hungry to step up. Like I said, talking to Yannick Weber before the game, he's ready. They know they're going to have a challenge. And when you're young and you're ready to go and you have a chance to prove something like this, you're going to take advantage of it, and they're hoping to do that. But like you said, Eddie Lack's going to be ready to go.
Dan Hamhuis played just under 26 minutes, more than anybody else on Saturday night against Flames. He may have to play more than that tonight. Ryan Suter-like minutes to carry the load on the blue line. What about up front for the Canucks? It's a team, Ellie, they got to feel like they owe one. It's 3rd meeting in 16 days, and they were flat in both of them. Minnesota, great first period team. The Canucks are not. Something has to give there tonight.
Well, I just believe that when you're the forwards on a team like this, one thing the coaches will always say is it's not just the defense who have to play defense. And I wonder if one of the messages is, guys, you have to cheat the other way, and that's back. You know, you've got to help these guys out. There's a lot of new guys. Don't make them make long passes. Make sure you're there to help cover up their mistakes. If you have to play a low-scoring game, do it. We can't be giving up great chances.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take a full team effort for sure. And you're playing against a team like Minnesota also that can put the puck in the net. They have recently. And you got your D down like that. You're relying on your goalie too much. It's a bad sign. So hopefully Eddie will get the support he needs from the group.
3 games in a row for the Canucks at high energy. Maybe just needs to be a little more condensed tonight. Undermanned against the Minnesota Wild. John and John are after the break. Seconds away from puck drop. Mike Yeo went nuts, got the Wild going eventually. I know you have a good story from back in your junior days.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. A Memorial Cup final game. We're playing against Val-d'Or, and they're kicking the soccer ball. I don't know what it was, a hacky sack or anything, what we did back then, but came over our curtain, and Sutsy went over there and hauled their curtain down and put a big snap show on. Actually fired us up. We only won in overtime, but maybe it was that little extra we needed.
Brent Sutter, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Sutsy.
John and John at Rogers Arena.
That's good.
Rogers Arena in Vancouver in the third meeting in 16 days between the Canucks and the Minnesota Wild in the ever shrinking standings in the West. Starting goalies brought to you by Tim Hortons, official coffee of the NHL. What a month for Devan Dubnyk of the Wild. He joined Minnesota January 15th from Arizona. Since then, he's gone 10-1-1 with his new team. And for the Canucks, I think Eddie Lack is done trying to figure out when he's going to play. Thought he'd get the start Saturday in Calgary. Instead, he plays tonight against the Wild. Jason Pominville comes into this one with goals in 3 of his last 4 games. Up against the Vancouver defense corps that includes Yannick Weber again. He's back in after being a healthy scratch the last 3 games in a row. Henrik Daniel Sedin, Alex Burrows up front to start this game for the Canucks. Dan Hamhuis and Weber on defense. Here's Jared Spurgeon with the puck ahead to Mikko Koivu, deflects it into the Vancouver zone. Weber back into the corner for Hamhuis. Can't get the puck past Koivu the first time. Now ahead to Daniel Sedin, held into the blue line by Spurgeon, and Weber goes back. Checked along the end boards, but able to get the puck ahead to Alex Burrows. Now it's shoveled to Dan Hamhuis, who kicks the puck up to his stick and drives it into the Wild zone. After it is Burrows. Taken away by Koivu. Daniel Sedin gets the puck. Burrows from the corner. Back to the point. Long shot by Alex Biega. And that goes wide of the goal. So the first shift of the NHL career for 26-year-old Alex Biega from Montreal. He's got the puck inside his own blue line, wearing number 55. Only the third Canuck to ever wear that number. The others, Ed Jovanovski and Shane O'Brien. Puck comes towards Biega at the right point. Round for Jannik Hansen. That's out of his reach. Here's Lucas Spiza sending one on goal, and an easy stick save for Dubnyk. Justin Fontaine clears the zone, and Ronnie Kennins is onto the puck for the Canucks. He scored the opening goal in Calgary on Saturday in a 3-2 loss for Vancouver. Kennins with 3 in his brief NHL career already. Loose pocket center, Bo Horvat backhands it into the Minnesota zone, and back goes Ryan Suter to collect. Suter, long lead pass. Here's Jordan Schrader, who opened the score when these teams met in Minnesota last week, the ex-Canuck. That was after Vancouver had a good start, had the first 4 shots of the hockey game, but Schrader beat Ryan Miller with a backhander, and Minnesota never looked back.
The last time the Wild was here, which wasn't that long ago, 16 days ago, the Canucks outshot them 37-20, but found themselves down 4-0 in the third period.
Charlie Coyle in the Vancouver zone. Now a shot in tight by Nino Niederreiter. That's stopped by Eddie Lack. First test of the hockey game for him. Matt Dumba at the blue line. Sends the puck around. Radim Vrbata's there for Vancouver. He turns, chips one ahead, and gets it through to Lyndon Bay. Bay spins to get away from Niederreiter. Now carries to center for Vancouver. Lead pass. Zach Kassian tips the puck forward. Chris Higgins sends it further in. Kassian on the forecheck. Puck played around to the far side. Sean Mathias is after it for Vancouver. Round behind for Kassian. Out the near side, indirect pass, Hamhuis, long shot, wide of the goal. Weber moves down aggressively from the right point, puts the puck in front. Now he's got to hustle back. But Hamhuis should be able to break this up at center. And he's being shadowed by Kyle Bronziak. Eric Hulla working to hold the puck in. Derek Dorsett winds up with it. And Dorsett brings the puck to center. He's stripped from behind by Bronziak. But his pass to Hulla didn't work, and Mathias feeds back to Yannick Weber. 3 minutes into a scoreless first period. And Yannick Weber has the puck. Hit Henrik Sedin with that pass. The Canuck captain chases back for the puck. Henrik, look out. That is pass blocked. Now Koivu's onto the puck. Pominville. The blue line to Brodin. Checked by Daniel Sedin, and he passes to an open wing.
Boy, that's one of those where Henrik Sedin, you have to see who's out there, and that was Zach Parise standing in front of the net. Henrik tried that pass up the middle. Parise knocked it down.
He's good, right?
He's good. He's good.
Parise tries a long shot. Now Pominville works the puck to Koivu in the corner. Spiza steps into him. Burrows had his stick checked as he tried to clear. Here's Pominville cutting it on the left with a wrist shot. Blocked. Parise on the rebound. Couldn't get the shot through. Daniel Sedin forces the puck to center. Wild changing, as are the Canucks, as we're past the 4-minute mark of a scoreless first period, and nary a whistle so far. Adam Clendening tips the puck around to Lucas Spiza. He sends one up the middle. Kennins couldn't knock it down. Marco Scandella checked by Ronnie Kennins. He puts one in front, tipped away. Here's Clendening at the blue line. Long shot blocked. Rebound. Kennins stopped by Dubnyk. Ryan Stanton back into his own zone. His pass tipped away. Puck to the side. Here's Granlund centering. Fontaine couldn't get a shot away, and the Canucks clear the puck to center. Canucks have been a little careless on a couple of occasions in their own zone with the puck. Here's Nate Prosser, who broke a long goal drought last game. 41 games he'd gone without scoring before getting one against Carolina in a 6-3 win. Lyndon Bay ahead for Christopher Higgins. Prosser takes that away. Higgins hits him. Bay tries a pass. Puck comes to Higgins. Quick shot stopped by Dubnyk. And he hangs on for the first whistle of the hockey game.
Ronnie Kennins gets a good chance in front of Devan Dubnyk, and it seems like everything he shoots goes in, but this one doesn't. Dubnyk comes across, shoulders up. Henrik Sedin, now this is Zach Parise. You can't try this. Look at Parise. He reads it so well, gets over, knocks it down, and almost has a great scoring chance.
Sean Mathias comes out for this face-off in the Minnesota zone against Charlie Coyle. Mathias wins it. Kassian couldn't make contact with the puck, however. Wild to get it out, and here comes Coyle. Up the right side, Schrader sends one wide of the goal. Puck ricochets back towards Suter, who muscles it to the corner. Weber there to greet him. But Suter gets the puck again and rings it around for Jonas Brodin. Dorset's on him. Puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Now Dorsett gets it just outside the line, brought back in, whistled down on the offside by Brad Lazarowicz.
Canucks hockey. Brought to you by Subway. Discover the new chicken cordon bleu melt and Montreal smoked meat sandwich. Subway. Eat fresh.
Elliott and Colby were talking about the opportunity for all the new guys, and Willie Desjardins gets to pair and mix and match, and you can bet there'll be some changes in the pairings as this one goes along.
Here's a lead pass. Niederreiter moves in, drops off. Scandella cuts wide, throws one in front and right onto the stick of Chris Higgins. Coyle is back, and Higgins gets around it. Bay picks up the puck, drop pass. Higgins, Bay, centers, and Schrader there to tip it away before it got through to Radim Vrbata. Now Schrader feeds ahead to Niederreiter, and he dumps the puck into the Vancouver zone. Just past the 6-minute mark. First period, no score. Lucas Spiza waiting behind his goal. Goes glass and out. Eric Hulla intercepts that one. Feeds the puck forward. Here's Biega. Up for Daniel Sedin. Across for Henrik Sedin. Pass for Burrows out of his reach. Brodziak wheels back for the Wild. Hard pass to Brodin, who steps up through center. Backhands the puck into the Canucks zone. Lack out of his net. Missed it. Standing after the puck. Checked by Brodziak. Now Henrik Sedin trying to bring the puck forward. Brodziak gets it once more. Shovels it to the middle onto the stick of Daniel Sedin. Daniel chips the puck into the Minnesota zone. Canucks are offside here. So they'll tag up and start a change with just over 7 minutes elapsed in the first period. Pominville ahead for Parise, and a good job there by Adam Clendening to stand him up and not allow him to get to the puck. Prosser to Dumba. What a hit by Kennins as he stepped through Prosser in the Minnesota zone. Koivu in with a shot. He hit the side of the goal. He's a bit of a bowling ball, Ronnie Kennins. Now he's been upended in a while to get the puck. But they turn it over, and here comes Hansen. Chips it forward. Icing waved off. Kennins has Dumba lined up, and he hits him hard. Fans don't mind that. Nate Prosser. Zach Parise. Cross for Prosser. Sharp angle backhander. Eddie Lack got the arm on that one. Dorsett chasing after the puck. Mikael Granlund is there first. And now Thomas Vanek feeds ahead to Justin Fontaine. He steps over the Vancouver line. Granlund to Fontaine to the net, and a stick save by Eddie Lack. Here's Vanek putting one in front, one off the toe of his stick. And Dorsett sends one ahead to Cassian. He tried to thread it through for Matthias. That didn't work. Fast moving period. Pace. I think we've had one whistle. Chip in anytime.
Yes.
Yes doesn't count as chipping in. Here's Matthias sending one forward. Suter intercepts and passes the puck to Jonas Brodin. Jordan Schrader has room at center. In on the right side. Schrader puts one in front. They score! Nino Niederreiter on the setup from Jordan Schrader, and Minnesota makes it 1-0.
Eddie Lack a little discouraged on this one as it went underneath him, but it really wasn't Eddie Lack's fault. Good play by Schrader, nice finish by Niederreiter, but Lyndon Vey is back. You can see the Canucks have everybody covered, and Niederreiter goes right by Lyndon Vey. And that's one of those defensive things. You're sitting there, okay, I had him, I let him go. And Niederreiter gets a good hard pass. Doesn't get much of it, but gets enough. And it goes back against the grain and through Eddie Lack.
8:55 of the first period. On the 5th shot of the game for Minnesota, Nino Niederreiter gets his 17th of the year. A fast start for the Wild. Looking to make it 3 for 3 against the Canucks this season. Here's Suter ahead for Niederreiter. That slides right through the lap, and he'll cover the puck and take the whistle. Nino Niederreiter has Minnesota on the board. 1-0 Wild at Rogers Arena.
This period brought to you by Toyota. Comfort, style, technology, and one incredible drive. The 2015 Toyota RAV4. Let's play.
We're talking about the defenseman getting a chance and showing what they can do. How about Ronnie Kennett? Okay, the offense is a bonus, but this is the way he's played in Utica. And this is why he got called up. Continues to do that. He's not going to be out of this lineup.
Canucks down 1-0. Just past the 9-minute mark of the first period. Battle of the captains on this draw. Henrik Sedin against Mikko Koivu, who's the first full-time captain in Minnesota history. Spurgeon gets the puck. Dumps it in deep for Pominville. Here's Parise banking one back to Scandella. Intercepting behind the goal is Hamhuis. He's pressured and loses the puck. Pominville puts it in front, but it's intercepted by Henrik Sedin. 4 Canucks through center. Henrik in, across. Daniel overskated it. Now he passes behind the goal. Burrows takes the puck away from Koivu. Daniel behind the goal to Henrik. Scandella's watching him. Henrik in front for Daniel. That's off the skate. Now Daniel with the puck again. Back to Dan Sedin. Dan Hamhuis, long shot stopped by Dubnyk. Henrik Sedin goes to the front as Daniel gets the puck to the line. Weber tries a shot. Burrows slashes the stick of his man. Now goes after the puck in the crease. Dubnyk couldn't cover it. Daniel comes in, but is cleared to the corner. Now Daniel hands the puck to Parise, and he'll relieve the pressure getting it to center to Pominville. Parise backhands the puck to the corner, and Weber goes back for Vancouver. Here's a long pass ahead. Kennens didn't make contact. This will be icing as Suter goes back into his own zone. Murph.
Well, John, we'd like to remind everyone to play Safeway's $1 million score and win. If any Vancouver player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Jim Ramsey of Richmond could win $1 million.
Alex Burrows with Henrik and Daniel Sedin does so much along the boards and then in front of the net. And look at Burrows fighting to keep that puck loose. And the Canucks get a second chance because of the hard work of Alex Burrows.
Here comes Bo Horvat with the puck. Right up the gut. Offside was Kennens on his left. Whistle blows. We'll step aside. Still 1-0 Minnesota with 9:19 to go in the first.
Get ready for game time with over 100 menu items. Order now at bostonpizza.com for delivery.
Mike Yeo and his Minnesota Wild, they're getting healthy. They're playing very well, but the sad part about it is they go on a run like they're on, 1 loss in their last 10 games, and they're still out of the playoffs. And so many teams to try and jump over, and now with Devan Dubnyk in net, the solid goaltending they're getting, they just hope they can continue this big run.
Jared Spurgeon dumps the puck into Vancouver territory. Ryan Stanton ahead for Zach Cassian. He's pressured by Prosser. And now Clendening bobbles the puck, and Minnesota's onto it. Vanek with a centering pass. That was blocked. He gets it again. Threw one at the goal. That went off Lack to the left point. Prosser down the boards for Granlund. Fontaine gets the puck. Intercepting is Clendening in the corner. Now Matthias finds Zach Cassian. He fans on his pass, turns it over. Fontaine shoots, and a stop by Eddie Lack. Here's Granlund centering over the stick of Vanek. And Derek Dorsett able to bring the puck out for Vancouver. He chips it to the corner and chases after it there. Those are hit on Prosser, who's been on the receiving end of a couple. Dorsett lost his stick, otherwise would have had a chance at that rebound. Here's Spiza playing the puck behind the goal. Granlund picks it up for the Wild. Gets it to the line, just out. Kicked back in by Biega, and the whistle blows.
Zach Cassian has a puck 10 feet from the blue line, tries a cross-ice pass, heels it, and Eddie Lack bails him out. Fontaine's shot just off the top of the pad. And here comes Derek Dorsett. Good solid hit on Prosser, but he's lost his stick. And as you said, John, that rebound went right by him.
Canucks with physical play early. They've out-hit Minnesota by a pretty wide margin in the first 12 minutes, but it's Niederreiter who has the game's only goal. Suter from behind the net. Up the middle to Coyle. Can't get by Verbata at center. And here comes Radim Verbata into the Minnesota zone. Pass for Bay. Tried to glove it down. Missed it. Coyle turns. Chips the puck near side. Schrader takes a look. And gets it ahead and out. Shot back in by Biega. And Dubnyk settles the puck for Ryan Suter. Here's Jonas Brodin. Gets through center, wrists one over top of the goal. And it almost came in off Lack. Wow. First he missed it with the glove. And then he almost nubbed it into his own goal.
I think Eddie changed his mind on the high shoot-in. Goes over. Oh, he tried to catch it, you're right. And then it's off his back and just goes wide.
Expect the unexpected.
Yes. Down on his knees and waved at it. And is very fortunate that didn't go off the 31 and into the net.
That would have made the plays of the week. Here's Alex Burrows picking up a loose puck over the Minnesota line. Daniel Sedin throws one towards the goal. Henrik on the ricochet to the net. Stopped by Dubnyk. Burrows digs the puck free. Here's Dan Hamhuis. Wrist shot wide. Henrik Sedin gets the loose puck. Into the corner for Daniel. Centering pass. Went right by Burrows. And Parise sends the puck to an open side. Scandella to Koivu. To Parise, to the net, blocked by Hamhuis. Now the puck comes in front, and Lack grabs it as it came off Daniel Sedin at the side.
Sedin line has looked good. They played in the offensive zone. They've had some chances, and again, they get a good scoring chance. Devan Dubnyk can't grab it. It's off the boards. Henrik tried to bank it off the goaltender. Dubnyk very quick to come across. And then another bank shot. Dubnyk able to make the save.
Face off of the Vancouver end. 7 minutes to go in the period. Dumba in deep for Granlund. Now Granlund missed on that centering pass. Fontaine gives the puck away to Ronnie Kennens. And Hansen chips the puck in. Out to play it is Dubnyk round the far side. Hansen waiting there. Missed the puck. And Granlund gets it ahead to center and pokes it over the Vancouver line. Stanton to Hansen. In front, Horvat's open, he shoots. And off the blocker of Dubnyk and just wide. Cole Horvat again. Here's Biega with a drive, and that just missed the net. Looked like Hansen got a piece of the goaltender, and now he gets the goal stick in the midsection, cruising through the crease. Canucks with a couple of better shifts in a row at the offensive end. 6 minutes to go in the first. Minnesota leading 1-0. The Niederreiter got dumped at center by Dorsett. Here's Coyle in. Checked from behind by Kassian. But the puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Brodin gets around Spiza to the side. Schrader couldn't get the shot through. Coyle after the puck behind the goal hits Matthias, but the Canucks get it ahead to Kassian. He chips one forward. Dorsett can't catch up, and the Wild take the puck back with 5.5 to go in the first. Ryan Suter ahead to Hulla. Brodziak from behind the goal sets it up. Shot attempt by Stefan Veilleux. Didn't get to the net. It's a blast from the past.
Yes, with Zucker out, Stefan Veilleux got the call up.
He was a part of the Minnesota Wild when this rivalry was in full bloom. The days that Brad Fay was referring to earlier. Both these teams part of the Northwest Division. Verbata to Higgins, and he chips the puck into the Minnesota zone. Scandella goes back. Works the puck to Spurgeon. And now Parise gets it ahead, but not out. Spurgeon tries the other side, waiting is Stanton. Ryan Stanton centers, and the shot never got through as Higgins tried to one-time it. They put the puck behind the goal. Scandella's there. And Parise able to chip it down to the Vancouver blue line. Adam Clendening to Henrik Sedin, who feeds the puck back, and now it's sent near side to Ryan Stanton. Ahead for Henrik Sedin, who deflects the puck in deep. Suter checked in the corner. Henrik centers. That's off the goaltender to the left point. Lucas Spiza dumps the puck to the corner. Brodin intercepts it. But now it's behind the goal to Henrik Sedin. Daniel comes in. He's taken down. Burrows gets the loose puck. Back to Biega. Daniel behind the goal for Henrik. Brodin's on him. Henrik Sedin leaves for Daniel Sedin. He finds some room on the left side. Back to Spiza. And his pass is well off the mark and picked off by Parise. Spiza to Burrows. Daniel Sedin after the loose puck. Couldn't get it behind the goal to Henrik. And Brodin finds a seam and slides the puck into the Canucks zone.
Another good shift for the Sedin line.
Canucks are going to need them tonight. But the Canucks held scoreless thus far. Nino Niederreiter has the game's only goal. Here's Ronnie Kennens chipping the puck into the Minnesota zone. He's got Prosser lined up again. Nate Prosser's had a target on his back this period. But he's jumping up into the play for the Wild as the puck is dumped into the Vancouver zone. Andrews hits Fontaine. Horvat's after the puck, and now Weber gets it around for Hansen. Near side for Dan Hamhuis. Dubnyk out of his net. Hansen moves to check in. Puck sent to the side, Hamhuis. In behind for Hansen. Past the line, Clendening with some room. Long wrist shot, that didn't get through. Hamhuis holds the puck in the zone. Dumba dumps it around and Prosser's onto the puck. Puts it into the middle, and Granlund will be able to turn in his own zone. Here's Jordan Schrader, who set up the game's only goal. Feet ahead, Niederreiter moves in. Back to Schrader, Kassian on the back check. Pick that off. Zach Kassian to center, stripped to the puck, and back comes Charlie Coyle. Coyle towards the goal. Round behind the man, and a nice defensive play there by Clendening to break it up. Wild hold the puck in, though. Here's Spurgeon with a long wrist shot, blocked by Dorsett, and the puck deflects out to center. You can see Willie Desjardins' reaction to that turnover in the neutral zone. He was not happy.
1-on-3 in the neutral zone.
Here comes Scandella for the Wild. Under a minute and a half to go in the first. Scandella with a nice move. He's into the Vancouver zone. Dishes off. Pominville back in front, and Scandella was tied up by Biega. Koivu in for Parise. Here's Pominville with room behind the goal. Center, Scandella all alone. He shoots, and that was blocked by Chris Higgins. Wild keep possession of the puck. Final minute, first period. Koivu from the corner. Parisi being worked over by Spiza. Koivu again. Pominville missed that one. And Biega gets the puck ahead to Lyndon Vey, who returns it to Alex Biega. Sedin's out for one last shift before the end of the period. Henrik deflects the puck in on Dubnyk. He'll drop it down. Didn't want the whistle on the offensive zone draw. Canucks work to get the puck back. Daniel Sedin. Bodied by Hulla. Burrows is after the puck and he gets it in the corner. Alex Burrows to the side. Henrik to the crease. And Daniel couldn't make contact. Handhughes with a shot. Dubnyk the save. And another one. A glove stop off Burrows on the backhand.
Good for luck, warmth, and assuming a different identity. Want to get your What Happens Here Stays Here on? Book now at LasVegas.com.
Alex Burrows again in front of the net with the Sedins. Gets the rebound, and this is just a great save by Devan Dubnyk. Puck, follow the puck, find it. Original shot comes through, he has no idea, but then the rebound, finds the rebound before Burrows does and gets the glove out.
Henrik Sedin wins the face-off. Here's Weber with a wrist shot. That was blocked. Coyle got in front of it. Now he feeds the puck ahead to center. Granlund collects it at his own blue line. Road team will be satisfied with this opening period. A goal by Nino Niederreiter at 8:55. The only scoring play of the first. And the Minnesota Wild, a 1-0 lead through 20. Brad Fay in the panel. Lots more to come after the break.
This period brought to you by Toyota. Comfort, style, technology, and one incredible drive. The 2015 Toyota RAV4. Let's play.
Welcome back to Vancouver. Canucks trying to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Minnesota Wild. Hey, are you planning a special event or looking to reward staff with an unforgettable experience? St. Game Suites, the perfect way to get a group together, plus book now and receive a Whistler Getaway package for 2 absolutely free. While supplies last. Ideal gift to raffle off in your suite or present to a VIP guest. Visit Canucks.com/St. Game Suites for details.
It is time for John Garrett's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Now you're playing your first NHL game at 26 years old. And Alex Biega's a smart guy. 4 years at Harvard. Good read. Don't pinch. It's 0-0 early in the game. A good smart read. Stay in position. Look at this read. Stay there in the middle. Don't chase. And that is a calm, educated guy playing his first NHL game.
Played just over 7 minutes in the first period did Alex Biega. Handhughes and Weber out to start period 2 for Vancouver as the puck is tipped into the Canucks zone by Zach Parise. Weber went down awkwardly under the check of Parise. Now getting back to his feet as Handhughes hooks the puck to the line, held in by Jonas Brodin. Weber goes back for the puck. Handhughes around for Daniel Sedin, but Pominville steps in front of him. Alex Burrows gets to the loose puck, trying to get it past Ryan Suter. And finally it's out to center. The Canucks have a 3-on-1. Daniel Sedin down the right, in on goal, stop, Henrik scores! Henrik Sedin on the rebound, and the Canucks tie the game at 1.
Well, this is a good play by Alex Burrows at the blue line. Ryan Suter pinches in, tries to keep the puck in, and Alex Burrows stays right with it. And then he makes the play to get Henrik and Daniel going. Henrik goes to the net. Daniel takes the rebound shot. Keeps it down low so that it's off Dubnyk, and Henrik's right there. That's better than a pass. Daniel can't get the pass over, so he plays shot rebound. The old pool shot off the goalie right to Henrik.
42 seconds into the second period. Henrik Sedin pulls the Canucks even with his 10th of the year. And the period started with the puck in the Vancouver zone almost the entire time before Vancouver broke out with numbers. And the end result was a tie hockey game. Thomas Vanek missed the puck. Lucas Spiza's on it.
That was one of the few shifts that the Sedins were pinned in their own zone.
Spiza from center. Passes back to Biega. And Alex Biega dumps the puck ahead to Jannik Hansen. His pass into the middle. Broken up. Turning with the puck is Bo Horvat. Devin Dubnyk gloves the shooting and leaves the puck for Marco Scandella. Here's Spurgeon ahead for Granlund. That's broken up by Verbata. And here's Lyndon Bay racing to join him as Clendening going to the net. Lyndon Bay puts one towards the front, that deflects to the far side. Higgins after the puck. Chris Higgins riding a 4-game point streak. Now here's Clendening on the right wing. Shot attempt. Batted out of play. That should be a penalty. And the Canucks are going to get the first power play of the hockey game here as Marco Scandella swatted that puck over the glass.
Well, Mike Yeo looking on. His team had a good start until the Sedins came down. Scandella, with his back to the boards, just waves at it and gets it up and over the glass.
Canucks to the power play. It's brought to you by Subway. Discover the new authentic Montreal smoked meat sandwich. Subway, eat fresh. Can the Canucks get the power play going? Scoreless in 15 of the last 18 games, 0 for 6 in the last 4 outings. A new look with Edler out. Adam Clendening is the point man with the man advantage. And the Canucks will have to start from their own end as Suter shoots the puck around and down. Minnesota's penalty killers have killed off 25 in a row. And ranked 4th in the NHL, just under 86%. Canucks having trouble gaining the zone here, but now Henrik Sedin steps in on the left wing. Shields the puck from Brodziak. Passes down low to Daniel. Here's Alex Burrows back to Clendening. Doesn't shoot it. Verbata will, however, on a right pad save by Dubnyk. Brodin gets the puck in the corner. Shoots it off the glass past Clendening and all the way down the ice. Canucks were changing and Veilleux first man up the ice. Lack able to get the puck into the corner for Dan Hamhuis. Penalty to Scandella's half over. Here comes Hamhuis up the left wing. Higgins steps in. Horvat in the middle. Back for Higgins. He chases after the puck behind the goal. Runs into Spurgeon there. Vey battling for the puck. To the blue line, Hamhuis. Horvat at the right point. To Dan Hamhuis. Lets it go, and that was blocked in front by Nate Prosser. The Wild able to clear the zone. Bo Horvat heads to the bench. Nobody's jumped over yet. Now Weber comes onto the ice. Canucks with 2 defensemen after Horvat played the point on the second unit. Veilleux intercepts and he dumps the puck down with just 22 seconds to go on the penalty to Marco Scandella.
As you were saying, John, the Canucks having trouble getting it in and getting organized.
Now they're in. And here's Hansen centering. Kennins couldn't get a shot away. He feeds the puck to Weber. Ronnie Kennins coming off the right wing. Back to Jannik Weber. Lets it fly, and Dubnyk the save. No rebound for Kennins, who went to the front of the net.
Minnesota Wild doing a good job killing this penalty and not letting the Canucks get set up. And John, this is what you were talking about. Absolutely perfect their last 9 games. Haven't given up a whole lot of penalties or shorthanded situations. They've done a good discipline job when you got Ryan Suter out there all the time. That helps. Nate Prosser has been good killing penalties for the Wild.
Here's a face-off win, and a shot by Biega is handled by Devin Dubnyk, who had a clean look at that one.
Well, that's it. It got back so fast to Biega that there was no chance to get anybody in front. Right straight back. Biega lets it go, and you can see how much room Devin Dubnyk has to see that one.
On the whistle, Marco Scandella exits the penalty box and heads to the Minnesota bench. And the Canucks 0 for 1 on the power play, managed 3 shots on that one on Dubnyk. Sean Mathias on this faceoff against Charlie Coyle. And Brad Lazarowicz didn't like the way that was dropped. They'll do it again. This time the puck in skates, and the Wild able to tip it to the side. Coyle up the left wing. Niederreiter deflects the puck into the Vancouver zone. Gives Biega a bump as the puck is played around. Schrader in for Niederreiter. Dorsett's on him. Knocks the puck free. Villegas after it along the end boards. Now backhands it up for Mathias. He couldn't move it out. And the puck remains deep in the Vancouver zone. Spiza around for Kassian. Suter is on him. Here's Brodin at the line. Hit Kassian with that one. And Zach Kassian able to force the puck to center where he takes a hit from Ryan Suter. Nearing the 5-minute mark of the second, a 1-1 tie. Canucks have outshot Minnesota 14-7. And the puck goes out of play at the Wild bench for a whistle.
Alex Biega is not very big, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's taken him this long to make his NHL debut. You can see he's Buffalo's 5th pick, 147. Lots of time in the American League, played pretty well in the American League. In Utica, his numbers not that impressive, but it's always impressive when you have a nickname like the Bulldog.
Yes.
You're not very big, but you compete hard every night. You get that good nickname.
Looks kind of like Pitbull. But Bulldog is the nickname as the puck goes over the glass behind Eddie Lack, and the face-off will be in the neutral zone.
And how many guys spend their whole 4 years? I guess when you're going to Harvard, you want to take advantage of that. Yeah, you want to take advantage of that good education.
Minnesota controls the puck. Now it's sent in on Eddie Lack, who banks it around for Dan Hamhuis. Ahead for Ronnie Kennens, who chips the puck to center. Waiting is Hansen. And now Horvat deflects the puck to the corner. Bo Horvat around the net. Oh, put it on goal, and Dubnyk alertly made that save as Horvat sneakily tested it on the forehand. Minnesota offside, whistle blows.
Sneakily. He sneakily went around on the forehand.
Is that a word?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to get a phone call from Mom.
Well, I think your mom might phone you on sneakily, but this is a good sneaky play as he comes around, but Dubnyk well set. No chance that that one's going to go in from there. But there was a rebound.
Bo Horvat just growing in confidence at the offensive end with each game. Out of his net, tips the puck to the side. Ryan Stanton trying to move it out. Now Henrik Sedin kicks it to brother Daniel. Gets a return pass. Henrik, offside was Daniel on the left. On the whistle, we'll tell you about a winner for Safeway Score and Win on the 1-1 goal from Henrik Sedin. On behalf of Safeway and Quaker Granola Bars, James Jensen of Surrey won a Blu-ray prize pack from E1.
Well, here we'll get another look at Daniel. Banks it off the goaltender right to Henrik. Henrik didn't get all of it. That was almost like Niederreiter's off the heel of the stick, but he got enough to get it by Devin Dubnyk.
Dubnyk almost had the Kirk McLean trailing pad coming across. Hello, Robert Reichel. Chris Higgins in front, and Verbata healed that one. Justin Fontaine for Minnesota. Wrists one around. Here's Vanek to Suter. Vanek again. Chance for Fontaine. Move to the backhand. Dishes off. And it was sent back across by Granlund. And Fontaine couldn't tap it in the open side. Urbano with an ill-advised pass. And the puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Granlund centers for Vanek. Fontaine after the puck chops it wide of the goal. Canucks running around a bit here. Urbano puts it off Prosser's glove and down into the Minnesota zone.
Kyle Murchison was right there. Prosser said he didn't touch it.
Spiza gloves that one down, and here's Sean Mathias. Spiza to Biega. Dorset couldn't negotiate that one. Kassian's after the puck at center, but it's taken away by Kyle Brontier. Dumba to Holla. Drops for Brontier. He shoots along one wide of the goal, and Spiza goes after the loose puck. He's hit hard by Veilleux. Biega around for Kassian. Shot by Hulla, bouncing towards the goal, intercepted, and Biega tried a long lead pass from Mathias. That caught the outside of the post, and no icing. Here's a stretch pass for Bronziak, who steps around Hamhuis. Dan Hamhuis able to recover, knock the puck away. Now Weber battles Niederreiter, and the puck squirts free to the near side. takes it back deep into his own zone. And a penalty coming up here. We'll sort it out when we come back. But a power play upcoming here in Vancouver.
Nominate someone that you think is naturally sweet, and they could win a Canucks VIP experience, including 4 tickets to a Canucks game, a Pepsi Next prize pack, a Canucks jersey, and a $100 concession gift card.
Yannick Weber's in the penalty box for this push right here. A little shove, and it's called interference. And it was a referee out of center ice that called it. I know that's one of your pet peeves. We saw the referee in the shot who was 3 feet away. Doesn't make the call, and the guy who was 100 feet away, he's making it.
Out of the zone to begin, so Pominville will track it down, and the Wild will start from their own end.
Bo Horvat did his job on the faceoff.
Horvat heads off, face-off duty done. Wild move in, Parise on the left side. Back for Koivu, long shot by Suter, redirected, and a nice pad save by Eddie Lack on the deflection. I think it was Pominville who tipped it.
That was a very good save. That's Eddie Lack's best save of the game.
And the first shot of the period for Minnesota came nearly 8 minutes in. Pominville drives the puck in from center. Stanton trying to come up with it. Here's Parise from the corner. And now Koivu finds Suter at the line. Minnesota scored 2 on the power play against the Canucks last week. Here's Koivu turning on the left side. Parise missed the pass, and Hansen brings the puck out for Vancouver. Burrows on the right wing. And he'll take the puck to the corner and kill some time. Minnesota's 3 for 7 against the Canucks with a man advantage in the 2 games this year. That despite being ranked 26 in the NHL. Suter rifles the puck in from center. Picked up, center, back for Suter, and here's Pominville. Koivu to Parise, back to Mikko Koivu. 9 minutes into the second, a 1-1 tie. Vanek tries a shot, another deflection stopped by Lack, this time off Parise. 25 seconds to go in the power play. Lack gets run over as that puck hit the side of the net, and the Canucks send it down the ice. Lack in conversation with the referee after that one.
I think the goalies would just like some consistency in the calls on the goaltender interference.
Here's Granlund. 5 seconds left in the power play for Minnesota. Dumba dumps the puck around. Matthews shoots it to the far side. Down from the point is Spurgeon. Weber's out of the box. Both teams are 0 for 1 on the power play. Couple of key saves by the Lack, both of them on deflections. Here's a chance for Dumba to unload, and that didn't get through. He broke his stick, in fact. Weber gets the puck to center, and Dumba gloves it down and then kicks it to the side. Daniel Sedin deflects the puck into the Minnesota zone, and he'll head to the bench.
Dumba takes Charlie Coyle's stick, and Coyle has time to go to the bench.
We're halfway through the second period. Puck stays in the Minnesota zone. Chance for Lyndon Day. Lost the handle as he tried to drag it around Matt Dumba. Wild clear to the Vancouver line. Higgins had that go off his skate, and Brodziak shovels the puck back for Dumba. Minnesota banks it down into the Vancouver zone. Eddie Lack tips that one to the corner. Stanton missed the puck. Here's Eric Hulla. He lost his stick, and he'll hustle to the bench for a new one. Chris Higgins drops back to Adam Clendening. Dangerous pass in front, but Day is able to negotiate and get it up to center to Radim Vrbata. He's in over the Minnesota line. Vrbata trying to go through the defense. Puck comes back to Clendening. He lets it go. Higgins on the rebound. Couldn't get the shot through. And Brodin is able to backhand the puck off the glass and down the ice. 9 minutes to go in the second. Another fast-moving period. We're going to be home early tonight.
Well, that's it. Colby and Elliott in the Eastern time zone will appreciate this.
Clendening up for Dorsey. We jinxed it. There's an icing whistle and a face-off in the Vancouver zone.
As you said, John, Eddie Lack, a couple of real good saves on this power play. Jason Pominville tips that one back, and Eddie Lack's dragging the right pad, able to make the save on that one. Parise in front. He's a little guy, but he's tough to move. He makes 2. Thomas Vanek's in the blue paint, nobody near him, and makes contact with the goaltender. Is that not the classic goaltender interference penalty?
I'll agree with you on that one. that had been Mario Lemieux, you would have jumped on
I
his
would
back.
have given him a little lumber.
Jared Spurgeon tries a shot. That's off a stick and out of play. We'll take a break. It's 1-1. You're watching Canucks hockey live on Sportsnet.
This season, stay out of the penalty box. Find gifts you'll adore, like Arctic Brilliance Canadian Diamonds only at People's, Canada's diamond store. Let love shine.
The 2015 ICC Cricket World Cup began on Friday, and you can watch all matches live and in HD. Contact your local service provider or visit getcricket.ca. Your PBR.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
Vanek, pardon me, Pominville tried a shot off the face-up. That didn't work, and Kennins passes it center to Horvat. Here's Weber down the right. Pass disrupted as he tried to send it in front. Koivu gets the puck around. Kennins overskated as he tried to intercept. And Ryan Suter steps up to center. He fakes one way and goes the other, waiting for the puck is Dan Hughes, bodied in the corner. But now sweeps the puck around to Ronnie Kennins. Tried to go rink wide, knocked down by the high stick of Koivu, and the whistle blows.
Mikko Koivu reaching up. I was looking at the Minnesota Wild schedule, Shorty, and Devin Dubnyk has played all these games, 14 in a row started. There's another 9 before they play a back-to-back.
Could be a good run.
It could be a good run, and they've got the 2 extra goalies. Nick Backstrom is the backup in this one. Darcy Kemper is also with the team. So those guys won't get a chance to play, I don't think, for another 10 games.
Riding while he's hot. And Dubnyk has been scorching hot. Here's a turnover. Alex Burrows cuts left, hit the crossbar. Canucks almost had their first lead right there. Niederreiter slides the puck into the Vancouver zone. Thrown in front off a skate. Coyle goes after the puck. Gets it away from Daniel Sedin. Charlie Coyle, sharp angle shot, juggled and held onto by Lack. And now some pushing at the side as Biega is involved with Niederreiter.
Minnesota Wild giveaway, and Alex Burrows has problems with the first shot, but the second one, puck standing on end, misses the first one, standing on end, he just throws it, and it's off the inside of the post, out behind Devin Dubnyk.
Burrows that close, but it stays 1-1. Want to say a special hello to all of you watching on Comcast in the United States. I believe you get extra for that.
I'll say hello to Comcast also.
Chris Higgins gets the puck. Tips it past Dumba. Prosser goes back. Bravada bumps him. Wild chip the puck near side. Dangerous gamble by Clendening, and here's Granlund in. Kyle Granlund centering pass, and Higgins covering for the defense, able to knock it away. Shot from the line, didn't get through. Stanton gets the puck in the corner. Can't get it by Fontaine. Back for Dumba. Matt Dumba with a wrist shot, and Eddie Lack getting a whack in the head after making the save. Vanek again. But Lack's got the puck. Danger pick.
Well, that's it, and Thomas Vanek is getting away with another one. This one I don't mind as much. The puck's there. Eddie doesn't have it in his glove. It's off his chest. It's a tip try. It's more of a slash of the day. Eddie's trying to sell it.
It was Clendening's stick.
Yeah, and it's Clendening's stick. Eddie's trying to sell it, and the referee's right there.
It was friendly fire. Good non-call. Hughes can't get the puck by Brodziak. Mathias digging forward for Vancouver. 6:40 to go in the second, and Sean Mathias nicely ahead to Zach Cassiu. He's in on the left wing. Stops to get away from his check. Pass back. Dorsett shoots. Stopped by Dubnyk. Derek Dorsett, the trailer, took that pass from Zach Cassiu. Now a chance for Mathias to move in. Cassiu, the trailer, takes the drop pass. Drop for Hamhuis, and he fired it wide. Here's Weber to Dan Hamhuis again. Long shot blocked by Brodziak, and the puck ricochets down to the Vancouver blue line. Weber looks up ice. Reaching out was Mathias to deflect that one behind the Wild goal. 6 minutes left in the second. 1-1 tie. Brodin to Koivu. Spiza gets that puck. And it's onto the stick of Jannik Hansen. 4 Canucks on this rush, but Hansen couldn't get the pass through to Horvat. He'll try again. And this time it's knocked down by Pominville. He's in on the right wing. Through for Koivu. Pominville to Koivu. Viega trying to check in, and Horvat intercepts the feed intended for Parisi, but then hands the puck to Scandella. Marco Scandella behind the goal to Pominville. Centering pass. Here's Scandella trying to get a shot through. Spiza knocks the puck to the corner. Hit there by Parisi. Waiting on the near side is Jannik Hansen. Back for Viega. Canucks. Hansen had a chance to get the puck out. Played it back, but now he'll skate it forward. And lift it down into the Minnesota zone. That might be icing. And that was a fairly lengthy shift for the Canucks out there. And we'll see what Willie Desjardins likes to do here after Derek Dorsett had an opportunity to put his team on top.
Well, a good play on the rush. Zach Kassian stops, waits for the trailer. That's Derek Dorsett right down the middle, and no rebound for Sean Mathias. Goes right by him, and you can see Dorsett gets shoved by Dubnyk. A little stare down. Mismatch in size. And I think the Canucks are going to call their timeout. As you say, that was a long shift, but didn't you notice the way Ryan Suter turned the other way, away from the long flip in? And it drives you. That's one of my pet peeves. You have many pet peeves, but that's one of mine on these icings, where the defenseman, if he turns towards the puck, has lots of time to go and get it. And this time Ryan Suter turns away from the puck, and it's called icing. A little dump in.
John Soapbox brought to you by, we should sponsor it, Murph.
Well, it's not for the soapbox, but we can tell you the Safeway's featured participating product for tonight's game is Quaker granola bars.
Sharon's a big fan. Takes them to school for a recess snack.
Yeah, the rules at the schools are much more stringent now in terms of the health content.
Peanut free.
After the timeout, Henrik Sedin will take this face-off against Charlie Coyle to the right of Eddie Lack. And we got a delay here as they confirm who was on the ice when the icing play was made by Hansen. You'd think they could have done this in the 30 seconds they had. And now Dan O'Rourke's telling Henrik Sedin to go off. I think it's Horvat who has to come back.
Well, that would be a break for the Canucks. Henrik's won 2 of 8 faceoffs.
So here comes Bo Horvat out.
Although he's had a relatively tough night in the faceoff circles too. He's only won 2 of 7.
This one squirts to the blue line. Brodin holds the puck. Niederreiter. Back to Jonas Brodin. Long wrist shot, didn't get through. And Ronnie Kennins hops onto the loose puck. He ices it as well, although they're not going to call it.
Brad Lazarowicz in the home field advantage.
Suter's pass is off the mark. Daniel Sedin tips the puck back into the Minnesota zone. Wild move it to center. Here's Nino Niederreiter, the Minnesota goal scorer. Hughes back for the puck. Onto it is Schrader. Gives it away to Burrows. He makes a nice play ahead to Daniel Sedin, crisscrossing with Henrik. Daniel into the Minnesota zone, shoots the puck around for Henrik Sedin, who lets it go to Alex Burrows. Burrows struggling to control the puck. Niederreiter throws him to the ice, and the Wild able to clear it. 4 minutes to go in the second. Hughes to the side for Henrik Sedin. Coyle drops the puck back for Suter. He took a look and lost control for a while. Now the puck loose at center, poked ahead, sent to Vanek. Fontaine has room to skate. Turning with a backhander, and he hooked it wide of the goal. Looked like there was some room there, glove side on Lack. Weber backhands the puck out. And that'll be an icing call again against the Canucks.
Get hassle-free auto insurance and more from the friendly folks at Canadian Direct Insurance.
John Shorthouse, John Garrett, Dan Murphy, Irfan Gaffar for this Canucks Wild game. 3.5 to go in the second, and a 1-1 tie. Canucks hitting the road for 5 after this one. They fly to New York tomorrow, take on the Rangers on Thursday. Here's a chance at the side. Lack to react after the puck was knocked down. Vanek trying to force it in at the side. Could have been a costly turnover there, but Eddie Lack gets the whistle, and this game remains tied at 1.
And Brad Fay in the Hockey Central studio. The Flames down 3-0 at one point to the Bruins. Battle back. This is the 3-2 goal as Monahan sets up Hoodler. Canucks and Flames tied in the standings. Flames down 1 late, John.
Just like Calgary to post a comeback, Mr. Garrett, and the Flames, the kings of the comebacks, and the standings in the West are just uber tight.
Well, that's it. And you look at Winnipeg, who is another team battling, and they take their game into overtime and then win in a shootout. And that's something the Canucks haven't been able to do, is get all those extra points. All the close games that they played, and you just play to get those extra points.
Chris Higgins out for this shift with Lyndon Bay and Radim Verbata. A face-off win for Granlund, but the puck comes out to center. Clendening pokes that puck forward, now sends it into the middle, picked off by Marco Scandella. I got an email from my mom, by the way.
Yes,
sneakily is a word.
Yes, I'll put it in my repertoire.
Marco Scandella ahead for Thomas Vanek. Chance for Minnesota to break in here. Vanek on the left wing. Checked by Clendening. And Lyndon Bay's out with the puck. Pass to Zach Kassian. Back for Bay, broken up. Vanek's loose at center after the turnover by Kassian. He's got a breakaway. Stopped by Eddie Lack. And Lack another save off Vanek. And Vanek slams the glass in frustration after missing on the mano-a-mano. Chance on Eddie Lack. The Eddie chant will spring up now. Zach Kassian with the turnover just inside the Minnesota blue line. Needed his goalie to bail him out. Now he turns it over again.
That's huge.
Gets it out on the third attempt. Dorsett chases after the loose puck. Suter clears the side. Hughes holds the puck in, but Minnesota gets it ahead to Zach Parise with Koivu. Chips one forward, out of the reach of Koivu, and Lack will corral that puck and get the stoppage in play.
Zach Kassian's had some problems with just reading the plays. Here the Canucks on the rush. Okay, read the play. You got it. You're 2-3. That little back pass isn't going to work. Lyndon Bay was covered. And there was Vanek, who was so far behind the play, he ends up with a breakaway, and Eddie Lack has to bail his teammates out.
Eric Hullum gets the puck behind the Vancouver goal. Blue line feed. Dumba with a wrist shot. Blocked by Kennons, and the puck is down to the Minnesota blue line. Wild shoot it back into the Vancouver zone. Minute and a half to go in the second. 1-1 tie. Here's Prosser at the left point. Fires to the other side. Dumba dumps the puck around. Jannik Hansen onto it for Vancouver. And Hansen carries out. Flips one in off Prosser. Now moves in on Dumba. Gives him a bit of a jolt. But Prosser's out with the puck. He's moving to the final minute of the second period. Bayou chips the puck into the Vancouver zone, and Hamhuis will start from behind his own goal. Hamhuis turns back, passes to Stanton. Long feet ahead, a good one. Here's Henrik Sedin into the middle. Daniel picks up the puck. He's got Burrows in front. Daniel shoots, and that one off the arm of Dubnyk and wide of the goal. Henrik Sedin from behind the net. Ducks trying to create a late scoring chance here. Burrows missed the puck in the right wing corner, but he chases after it back to Hamhuis. He fires behind the goal. Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin, trying to come out front. He was taken down. And the Wild break out with 15 seconds to go in the period. Charlie Coyle. Pass to Niederreiter. Couldn't get a shot on it. Now he's hit in the corner by Daniel Sedin. And they mix it up a bit. Continuing to mix it up in the corner to the right of Eddie Lack. Meanwhile, the other end stands up with a long shot gloved by Dubnyk, and the period comes to an end. The two 22s were going after each other there behind the play.
Well, Nino Niederreiter is the equivalent of Cal Clutterbuck now for the Minnesota Wild, and he's got the leg scissors on Daniel. Look at Niederreiter's got the leg scissors on Daniel, and now Daniel gives him a shove. The referee right there to make sure nothing happens.
Canucks with the good start to the second period. A goal from Henrik Sedin, 42 seconds in, pulls them even, his 10th of the year, and another Canuck into double digits. Anybody's game, all even. 20 minutes to go as we send it back to Brad, Elliott, and Cole.
Ladies and gentlemen, the hockey community lost a member of their own this past weekend. Vancouver-born NHL player Steve Montador passed away yesterday in Mississauga, Ontario. Would you please join us? Rise and observe a moment of silence.
Some incredibly sad hockey-related news yesterday as a Vancouver native, Steve Montador, found dead in an Ontario home, far too young at the age of 35, and by all accounts, guys, just a fantastic teammate wherever he went.
Well, I got to know Steve and their Calgary Flames run to the Stanley Cup. I covered 2 series, and great guy, and as Murph said, a great teammate. Especially with the Let's Talk movement that's going on now, it's imperative that the hockey players and everybody else concerned in those kinds of situations is not afraid to go and seek help.
Condolences to the Montador family. As we get underway in the third period here at Rogers Arena, Canucks and the Wild in a 1-1 tie. Niederreiter opened the scoring in the first. Henrik Sedin in the opening minute of the second. And he's after the puck in his own zone, gets his stick lifted by Mikko Koivu. Behind the goal for Zach Parise to the blue line. Here's Ryan Suter firing one wide. Lack sliding back to knock the puck away before it can get to the slot.
And Jason Pominville right in Eddie Lack's territory.
Burrows can't get the puck through center. Parise takes it for Minnesota, drops it back to Suter, and both teams begin to change. Suter to Vanek. And now Granlund down the left side with a shot attempt. That's off the stick and over the glass. And the whistle blows. Scoring summaries are brought to you by Panago Pizza. Before, during, or after the game, get a fresh Panago. There you see Niederreiter, 8:55 of the first, 17th of the year from Jordan Schrader and Jonas Brodin. Henrik Sedin, 42 seconds into the second. From Daniel and Burrows, Henrik with his 10th to tie the game at 1. Canucks out shooting Minnesota 19-13 through 2 periods. Here comes Jannik Hansen down the left wing. Granlund trying to stay with him. Hansen turns to the side, throws it back, nobody there. And the puck slides all the way into the Vancouver zone. Lucas Sbisa chips the puck off the boards, now tips it ahead for Bo Horvat. Horvat with a burst of speed down the left wing. Bo Horvat around the net, in front, and Kennings couldn't make contact. Here's Jannik Hansen, curls to the high slot with a shot, Dubnyk the save, Horvat scores with a rebound. He just continues to grow and grow, and Bo Horvat gives the Canucks a 2-1 lead.
This play all starts with Lucas Sbisa. John, you and I say high risk, high reward. Lucas Sbisa goes right behind his own net. Now he's fighting, chips it as he's falling down, and it goes to Bo Horvat, who uses his speed, and the wraparound goes right through. Doesn't hit anybody. Kens is right there. And Jannik Hansen, shoot it at the net, never a bad play. And guess who's there? Both guys. And Ryan Stanton is also right there beside Bo Horvat, who finds the rebound off Devan Dubnyk and slides it in.
8 points in his last 10 games. Bo Horvat, the 19-year-old. And the Canucks, as they did in the second, score early in the third. and are on top for the first time tonight. Now Niederreiter with a shot. That's blocked by Stanton, and he clears the zone. Chasing after the puck is Matthias. Dubnyk didn't get anything on it. Dorsett swoops in for the puck. Derek Dorsett hooks it in behind the goal towards Matthias. Now at the blue line, Weber. Left point. Can't use the shot. Rebound. Verbata slid it on goal, and it was stopped by Devin Dubnyk. Weber tried to bring the puck in front. Coyle clears it out. And Hamhuis collects the puck at his own blue line. Horvat from Hansen and Spiza at 1:33. Here's Burrows with a long shot. Stopped by Dubnyk. He'll take the whistle. And a face-off upcoming in the Minnesota zone. Our next score and win winner, courtesy Safeway and Quaker Granola Bars, is Michael Johnson of Fort St. John. Michael, you've won a Hoover Air Cordless Vacuum.
On that same last shift, Jannik Hansen had a chance. Here's Jannik Hansen this time. Just drills it at the net. And Devin Dubnyk can't control the rebound with Stanton and Horvat providing the screen.
Daniel Sedin with a pass in front. Tipped away by Scandella. Marco Scandella shoots the puck around. Daniel Sedin cuts it off. Veilleux bodied by Henrik Sedin, who fell down, and the puck escapes the zone. 3 minutes into the third. And Burrows deflects the puck into the Minnesota 10. Scandella advances it to Kyle Brodziak. And Minnesota skates 4 through center. Brodziak sends one across for Jared Spurgeon. He reverses. And Alex Burrows collects the loose puck. Back for Stanton. And Burrows will move it across to Adam Clendenning, who goes off the glass and out. Glove down, and Koivu moves back quickly and tips the puck in behind the Canuck goal. Here's Dumba with a long shot. That's tipped wide by Koivu. Prosser forces the puck to the corner. Clendenning intercepts behind the goal, pressured by Pominville. Jason Pominville to the blue line. Long shot by Prosser, and that changed direction and didn't miss by much. Dumba moves down from the right point. Puts one in front. Parise couldn't jam it home. Ryan Stanton gets the loose puck, gets it ahead, and it's tipped out by Ronnie Kennens. Koivu for Pominville, and he tips the puck in behind the Canuck goal. Lack hit Hamhuis as he tried to shoot the puck around. Minnesota looks to take advantage. Brodin with a shot and a blocker saved by Eddie Lack. Looked calm making that stop. Kennens takes the lead pass from Verbata. Ronnie Kennens with a shot, fought off by Dubnyk. Puck clear to the side. Here's Yannick Weber. Gave it away to Koivu, and he slides the puck forward to Thomas Vanek. Moving in on Christopher Higgins. Vanek tries to go wide on the Canuck forward. Now the puck is intercepted by Verbata. And on the second attempt, he moves it out to neutral ice. 4.5 into the third. Here's Mikhail Granlund moving in. Pass through for Vanek, and his shot is off the stick of Weber and over the glass for a stoppage in play.
Great Canadian Oil Change. Family owned and operated. Superb customer service and new vehicle warranty approved products, including Valvoline Premium Oils. Great Canadian Oil Change. Over 60 locations across Canada.
I'm trying to figure out why the goalies, and there's a number of goalies, have trouble with this wrist shot of Ronnie Kennens. It's off the toe of the stick, off the blocker of Dubnyk, but I'm sure he wanted to control the rebound better than that.
Here's Brodin skating the puck deep into the Vancouver zone. Fontaine bangs to the blue line to Suter. Long shot. That went off Spiza in front. Puck comes free to Zach Cassidy. He finds Sean Matthias, who's in on the left wing. Matthias slows, centers. That was intended for Viega joining the rush, but the pass never got through. Fontaine drives the puck in, and it's collected by Alex Viega. Round for Lucas Spiza, dangerously into the middle of it. Vey takes the pass and works his way out. Now forced back into the Vancouver zone. Adam Clendenning across for Radim Verbata. And Clendenning takes the puck again. He was checked as he tried to get it through to Higgins. And Prosser sends Jordan Schrader away. Schrader wide on Clendenning. Centers the puck. Sprawling with Stanton to make the play, and the Canucks net has been knocked out. There was a Minnesota player in front, but Stanton got in the way of the pass.
Oh, the Canucks will be tested here. their young defenseman. Colby Armstrong was talking about Derek Dorsett and all the things he does. Reads the play. Here he's filling in for the defense. What do? Stay in the middle. Make sure they can't get the pass through, and a good job by Derek Dorsett as a defenseman.
Eddie Lack. Maybe it's a headache?
Maybe a dehydration thing. Take those salt pills. I think that's what I would go with.
Okay. Morning after, that's your routine?
I wouldn't know about that.
Face off to the left of the Vancouver goal. Horvat on the draw against Koivu. Pardon me, Henrik Sedin on the draw against Koivu. And Minnesota controls it. Centering pass. Shot didn't get through. A backhander by Koivu goes off the side of the goal. Weber collects the loose puck. Ahead to Daniel Sedin. And he backhands the puck into Minnesota territory. Burrows after it. Daniel Sedin as well. Here's Hanhus down from the left corner. Henrik Sedin couldn't corral the puck. Weber gets to it. Long shot is stopped by Dubnyk. Pominville tried to Hail Mary pass to Parise. That didn't work. And Henrik Sedin sends Minnesota back into its own zone.
Mikko Koivu's won 9 out of 10 faceoffs.
He's a regular Chris Odlofsson.
Yes.
Eric Holland dumps the puck in behind the Canuck goal. Eddie Lack trying to get it around. Knocked down by Kyle Brodziak. Clendening chips the puck towards Kennings, and he gets it out. Hansen strips his man of the puck. Yannick Hansen down the right. He's got Horvat in front, but the pass was too far in front. Now standing with a drive, and that goes off Dubnyk and wide of the goal. Kennings back to Clendening. Trying to get the puck around. That was knocked down by Brodin. Pass for Charlie Coyle, too hot to handle, and Stanton sends the puck back in. Kassian had Brodin lined up, but he stepped out of the way. Now the puck is banked ahead for Coyle, and he tips it deep into the Vancouver zone. Minnesota changing, so Spiza has room to move. Viega takes his pass, tips the puck forward, and Kassian sends it in behind the Minnesota goal. Kyle Granlund is back. Up ahead for Vanek, and he goes rink wide at center for Nate Prosser. Puck tipped to the corner. Spiza helps it along to Derek Dorsett. Up ahead for Kassian. Takes his time before sending the puck in behind the Minnesota net. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the third, 2-1 Canucks. Bo Horvat has the go-ahead goal. Here's Granlund in, left side. Niederreiter with a shot up and over top of the goal. Puck ricochets to center, and Spurgeon takes it at his own blue line. Long pass ahead, out of the reach of the intended target. Dan Hanhus turns with the puck. Gave it away to Niederreiter. In behind, here's Schrader. Blue line feed, Spurgeon. He passes in around for Niederreiter. Coyle goes after the loose puck. Hanhus steps into him. Weber trying to tie the puck up along the boards. Now it comes free to Vrbata. He calmly flips it to center. Another long stretch of action here without a whistle. As Spurgeon fires the puck in from center. Daniel Sedin, first man back. Banks it nicely to Alex Burrows. Schrader rubs him off the puck. And Ryan Suter takes control for Minnesota. 9 minutes into the third. Here comes Mikko Koivu ringing the puck around. Picked up by Pominville. Trying to put it in front. Knocked away by Henrik Sedin. Clendening had his stick lifted by Pominville, and he gets the puck to the blue line. Brodin with a long shot. That hit somebody in front. That would have been Parise going to the net. Stanton plays it forward, and the puck rolls down into the Minnesota zone.
Quick shifts for the defense, other than Dan Hanhus, who is already over 21 minutes.
Out there with Lucas Spiza at the moment. The two lefties paired up for Vancouver. Here's Suter. Up the left side, and a nice play by Horvat to strip the puck away from Granlund. But then Vrbata gave it away at the Minnesota blue line. Hanhus steps onto the puck and plays it in behind the Wild goal. Dumba up to Fontaine. Eddie Lack cuts that one off. Shoots the puck around. Verbata couldn't catch up to it. Here's Prosser on the left side. Into the corner. Granlund, centering pass, taken away by Spiza. Lucas Spiza goes off the boards and out. Dorsett trying to force the puck into Minnesota zone. Matthias waits for him to get onside. Now passes Dorsett, who dumps the puck in behind the net. We're past the halfway mark of the third. Shots are 25-15 Canucks.
6-2 here in the third.
Dumba ahead to Veilleux, and he chips the puck into the corner. Now Ryan Stanton into the boards, but Ryan Stanton fights off the check. Now reverses for Weber. Hollows after that puck. Weber didn't get much on it. Eric Hullin, centering pass, falls at the feet of Zach Kassian. Henrik Sedin racing down the right as Daniel takes the pass from Kassian. Daniel behind the goal for Henrik. Spurgeon moves to check in. Pass comes to Burrows. Here's Biega with a drive, and he ripped it off the target. Spiza in around for Burrows. Henrik Sedin takes the puck. Brodziak's on him. Now Burrows kicks the puck towards the middle. Tries to pick it up himself. It comes back towards Spiza. One hands it down the boards. Burrows for Henrik Sedin. Higgins has come onto the ice. Higgins on the right wing. To Henrik Sedin. Oh, nicely back to Higgins. In on goal. Backhander stopped by Dubnyk. Higgins from the left wing corner. Sends one across. Henrik. Biega. And the pass for Henrik was behind him. Canucks pressing here. Looking to go up by 2. Henrik Sedin on the backhand. Centers, and Burrows missed the pass. Here's Biega with a shot. He scores! Brodziak after Burrows once the red light went on. But in his NHL debut, Alex Biega scores to make it 3-1.
The Wild are complaining that Alex Burrows was interfering with Devan Dubnyk, but watch Burrows, his positioning on this one. He's been called a couple of times with the feet in the blue paint, but this one, he is outside, gets perfectly square, in good position, and that shot by Biega goes by Devan Dubnyk because he just can't see it.
Burrows tip it or no?
I don't think so.
He waved at it. There's no way he'll take credit for it. They'll get that puck and give it to number 55. Minnesota still complaining. Well, Biega tries to conceal the smile ever so slightly, but we have another winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Quaker Granola Bars. From Vancouver, Kalong Chow, congratulations. You've won a Garmin Verb Elite HD Action Camera.
Here's Alex Burrows. Okay, he misses the pass, but look at where his feet are. Okay, there. And it's not his stick. And you can see Dubnyk's complaining, but that was Scandella's stick that caught Dubnyk up high, not Alex Burrows.
Alex Biega making like Lee Sweat. His first at 11:54. And it's 3-1 Canucks. Still lots of time left. A little under 8 minutes. Here's Jonas Brodin. Dumping one across for Ryan Suter. He's checked by Bo Horvat. Nice move to get behind the goal. Horvat had the puck knocked away. He keeps after it in the corner to the right of Dubnyk. Puck comes free to Pominville, and he goes right wide to Parisi. Near side, Koivu to Pominville. Slides one wide to the goal. Chris Higgins, the second assist on the Biega talent after he'd come on to replace Daniel Sedin at the end of a long shift. Kennan dumps the puck in behind the Minnesota goal. Dubnyk takes a look and finds Ryan Suter. Ahead to Jordan Schrader. Canucks break that up. Niederreiter fires back towards Brodin. 7 minutes to go in the third. Ryan Suter with a hard pass to Matt Dumba, and he rings the puck around to the near side. Niederreiter takes a hit from Stanton. Here's Schrader trying to center, blocked by Lyndon Vay. Schrader turns to the puck as he gets it again. Jordan Schrader nicely back. Dumba with a shot, ripped it wide. Niederreiter on the rebound, and Eddie Lack came to his right. Might have caught a piece of the post, but the puck stayed out. Schrader centers. Coyle missed it. Dumba gets the puck. Wrist shot off his stick and deflects to the far corner. Minnesota pressing here, trailing by 2. Puck is centered. Niederreiter scores! Put it in off Lack. Nino Niederreiter with his second of the game, and it's a one-goal game again.
Adam Clendening fell down in the corner, and the Canucks just never recovered. Brian Stanton ends up in front, Lyndon Vay, and the puck just squeaks by. There's Clendening falling down, and now Stanton just can't get control. Lyndon Vay throws it right back, and Niederreiter just directs it towards the net. It's off Eddie Lack's shoulder and up and in.
So, back to a one-goal game with 6.5 remaining. Niederreiter scores about a minute and a half after Biega put the Canucks up by 2. Here's Justin Fontaine trying to sweep the puck into the Vancouver zone. It's onto the stick of Lucas Spiza. He takes a look and gets it by Granlund out to center. Canucks are 3-on-2. Daniel Sedin. Offside the call. Henrik doesn't like it. But the whistle blows and we'll head to break.
Have you ever wanted to watch a game for the GM's box or have dinner with a 94 Canucks alumni? Then join the Save on Foods Canucks Fan Zone for your chance to win over 1,500 exclusive Canucks experiences and merchandise. Visit any Save on Foods to earn points by purchasing featured products, then redeem those points for a chance to win. Visit SaveOnFoodsCanucksFanZone.com to sign up today.
This was a 1-1 hockey game heading into the third period. 3-2, Canucks lead, 6:05 left. Canucks 6-3-1 when tied after 2 coming into the night.
Devin Dubnyk is still complaining about the Biega goal. I'm sure when he sees the tape, he'll see that it was Scandella's stick and not Alex Burrows that caught him under the chin.
Here's a long shooting off the stick of Eddie Lack. 6 minutes to go. Spiza drops the puck back for Biega. Shoots it around, winning is Scandella. In for Vanek. Biega trying to stay with him. Vanek centers all alone as Scandella. Couldn't take it cleanly. Now he sweeps one through the crease and out the other side, and Jannik Hansen starts out. He's got Kennins with him. Hansen in on the right side. Kennins goes to the net. The pass just out of his reach as he was tied up by Justin Fontaine. Scandella gets the puck across to Jared Spurgeon. Here's Scandella playing catch with Spurgeon as they move through neutral ice. Scandella fights off a hook, banks the puck back to Jordan Schrader to the other side, and Spurgeon fan with a one-timer. Jordan Schrader has a couple of assists in this hockey game. 3 points against the Canucks in 2 games this season. Alex Burrows chops the puck out, and Brodin takes possession at his own line. 5 minutes to go. Coyle couldn't get the pass through, and Alex Burrows dumps the puck in on the left wing. Burrows rides Brodin into the boards, now picks up the loose puck. Burrows for Daniel Sedin. Henrik Sedin, Sean Mathias. Wheel of a change for the Canucks. Coyle gets the puck out. Spiza for Vancouver will take his time before skating it into the pass to Radim Vrbata. In around for Sean Mathias. Puck taken away by Mikko Koivu, dumps it up the near side. Suter there, runs into Vrbata. And Vrbata able to play the puck back to the end boards. Wild try the other side, but Dorsett intercepts. In for Mathias. Centering pass, knocked away. Dorsett reacted like maybe he was slashed. You heard him yelp as he went to the front of the net. 4 minutes remaining. And here's Pominville chipping the puck into the Vancouver zone. Hansen gets it around, past Parise, but it's off the stick of Horvat and right to Jason Pominville. Hansen tries the other side, and Dan Hamhuis has room to skate. Up ahead for Derek Dorsett. He's checked, but Hamhuis follows up. Horvat works to get the puck over the Minnesota line. Taken by Matt Dumba. Tips one up the right wing, Parise. One hands the puck to the corner. Weber is there. Hamhuis gives it away to Parise. Black with the poke check, and the puck came right across the crease. Granlund hit by Hamhuis in the corner. 3 Canucks in tight quarters here. Oh, and then Horvat got high stick, but it was his own teammate Hamhuis who flipped it. And Weber at the side is now mixing it up with Parise. As the play stops with the puck underneath Hamhuis and Granlund. 3:08 to go. Canucks protecting a 1-goal lead.
Flames were down 3-0, 3-1 after 2. They come back and tie it, and late in overtime, this happens. TJ Brodie down the wing, puck goes off the top of the net, back of the keeper and in. And Rick Ball calling that one on Sportsnet West. The Flames win it 4-3. So that.
Rick Ball's had a lot of those to call.
Yeah.
Another comeback for the Flames, who for the moment move 2 points ahead of the Canucks and into second place in the Pacific Division. Vancouver with a second wild card pending the outcome of this one here against Minnesota.
Los Angeles is tied with Tampa.
3-2. Daniel Sedin chases onto that one. He shoots, and a blocker saved by Dubnyk. Burrows then chipped the puck back through the slot. It's picked up by Fontaine. Granlund up the middle. Stopped by Lack and went off his throat protector, I think. And the Canucks send the puck down. This will be an icing call as Suter wins the race with Burrows. Suter and Burrows in conversation. Suter didn't like the way he was grabbed on that race with a puck. And they exchanged barbs.
What are you supposed to do? Alex Burrows was in a race with Ryan Suter to try and negate this icing call. And Suter saying, okay, don't touch me. Pretty harmless little grab.
Face off in the Vancouver zone, under 3 minutes to go. And Clendening gets the puck to Burrows off the draw. He puts it off the glass and down inside the Minnesota blue line. Dumbo rifles the puck in from center. Comes to the left point. Scandella puts it on goal. It was just tipped wide by Charlie Coyle. Kennins clears. Hansen's after the puck, and he's in on the left side. And Hansen with a shot off the blocker of Dubnyk. Horvat throws a check in the corner on Niederreiter. Puck comes towards the front. Tipped away by the Wild. Hamhuis holds it in. Dumba behind the goal, spins to get away from Kennins. And now Dumba rushes the puck to center. He shoots it in from neutral ice. Minnesota changing with 2 minutes to go. Dubnyk stays in the goal for the moment. Hamhuis from deep in his own zone. Ahead for Verbata, and he's able to chip the puck out. Dorsey sends Minnesota all the way back. Minute 45 remaining. Here comes Ryan Suter. Pass to Spurgeon. Stands in there to get the puck right back out. Dubnyk was cheating out of the net on that one. Now he retreats as Minnesota controls in its own zone.
And Hamhuis back.
Here's Suter to Parise. Goalie goes to the bench. Spurgeon with a shot. That went off a leg and wide. Vanek comes onto the ice as the extra attacker. 6 skaters for Minnesota with just over a minute to go. Dorsett gets the puck out. No icing as Dumba had a chance to play it.
It's a break for the Canucks. Dumba was going to the other side, but didn't get off the bench fast enough.
Hamhuis knocks that one down and calmly gets the puck out. Daniel Sedin is after it, but it's played away from him. 50 seconds remaining. Pominville sends the puck into the Vancouver zone. Yannick Weber battles Vanek. Burrows is there as well. Taps the puck to the corner. Granlund trying to get it to the blue line. Henrik Sedin works it free. Daniel checks, can't get it out. Here's Dumba with a long shot. Didn't get through. Pominville stopped by Eddie Lack on the rebound. Puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Dumba. Here's Vanek. Across, that one hit a leg. Scandella fakes the shot, and now the puck tipped free in the corner. 20 seconds to go. Canucks leading by 1. Weber trying to tie up the puck. Vanek gets it. Centers. Dumba off the glove of Eddie Lack. What a save. Now he comes to the side to block the centering pass. Daniel Sedin can't move it out. Loose puck. Here's Pominville. Stopped by Lack. Unbelievable action. Scandella with a chance. Shoots. Blocked. The game is over. And the Canucks win it by 1. And now we got some real rough stuff after the whistle.
Well, 3 games in 16 days. That was like after the warm-up where they try and score on the goalie. The Minnesota Wild standing around Eddie Lack trying to score.
What a finish to this one. What an opening night for a guy by the name of Alex Biega. He gets the winning goal in the third period. in his NHL debut. And the Canucks in a huge four-pointer knock off Minnesota 3-2.
Well, and Eddie Lack redemption. Only 21 shots against, but 3 or 4 right at the final buzzer that Eddie was able to keep out.
Nobody left this one early. A fantastic finish. Eddie Lack was surprised he got the start. Canuck fans are glad he did. Minnesota with a late push, but Lack stands tall. Biega the winner, and the Canucks win it 3-2.